Across the sweeping plains of Moiben in western Kenya, life unfolds in rhythms as old as time. Here, in a small, impoverished village, a boy named Kibet begins his journey. From his earliest days, Kibet's world was one of contrasts.
So at the beginning of chapter 1, I think what we see is doubts. This character, the author, is doubting himself when it comes to writing. He doesn't believe that he can do it. And the reason as to why that seems to be so prevalent in his intake is because this is the guy who had grew up in a farm. He had never been to any prestigious school. And then on top of that, he was having a problem in school, couldn't write. We see him going to school, being given to write even a composition. That becoming a big challenge. And from that, now him thinking that he want to write a novel, all the things that he could remember was all the failures, challenges, things that he couldn't do when it comes to English classes. I think that's the general picture that we see at the beginning of chapter 1.
As the seasons passed, the boy grew. His story, though rooted in poverty, became one of possibility. For within, Kibet believed that tomorrow might somehow hold more than today.
At this point, I think we see the character move from the doubts of writing to now what seems to be a personal issue, and that is the lack of money, which is poverty that was affecting a lot of people within that community. And when you look at it, I think as a young boy you was trying to get confused as, is the lack of money what is stopping him from becoming the person that he wanted to be? But also you would look to the people, the Maasai people, which actually are part of his long gone heritage, and the way the Maasai lived at that point, or maybe even they still live that way, is they live this nomadic lifestyle where the material world, the money is not really the determining factor of their happiness.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The young boy carried an awareness far beyond his years. Poverty was never hidden. It lingered in every weary face. It shaped the rhythm of his village, an invisible thread binding each day to the next. But unlike many around him, he refused to see it as the natural order of things. Deep within his young heart burned a quiet conviction. It was not okay to be poor. Beyond the horizon, beyond the mountains and hill of the Cherangani and the vast expanse of land, he believed something better must surely exist.
I guess part of him felt like a lot of people had grown numb to their hardship. And I think he started questioning whether it was okay that way. There was a bit of a conflict when you look into what's happening and the idea that it was okay to live this way, but at the same time for him, he thought that maybe I could be that aspect of change. Will I be able to change? That was a question. Or my effort and my thought process is going to be eroded by the surrounding, be able to the point where I'm able to accommodate the hardship that I'm seeing right now. That was the general line when it comes to the mind of this young individual, the character.
At one point, we encounter the little boy convincing his father that he didn't belong to the classroom. He was being honest that he was of spanners, grease, bolts, and diesel. In Kenya, such men are well known as the Jwakali. They are the craftsmen mechanics who keeps the lifeblood of the village moving. The tractors, the ploughs, the machines that feeds the land. While others around him seemed to shine with their studies, he quietly accepted that books and chalkboards were not his strength. To him, the pursuit of education felt like a foreign tradition, something borrowed from the British.
It's obvious that this is somebody who didn't like education in general. I think for him, he was more comfortable fixing things at home. And I think the idea of Joe Kelly coming in is because he already see the future when it comes to fixing, drafting, and the way he would talk to his father when it comes to trying to find an escape to afford school was to tell his father that I'd rather go to Polytechnic to gain some knowledge and skill so that I don't have to be going to the school. The British, using the word British, I think for him it was just a way of saying, you know what, this doesn't seem to be more African. I'm comfortable being fixing the corral, fixing the ramshackle tractor, fixing the PTO, and that kind of thing. So it was a way of just kind of trying to find a way out of the curriculum of a primary school where it was so strict. You had to stay on top of all the performance to be seen as somebody who was promotable to the next class, and he wasn't having it.
Outside of secondary school education, we learn that Kibet never truly desired to go to college, and yet he went. Not out of choice, but out of duty, honouring a promise made to his late father. For him, the college grounds were not a gateway to big ambition, nor a place of youthful discovery. They were a burden carried, a vow to be kept. He walked those corridors with a single purpose, to fulfill that promise. Chapter 1 offers us only fragments, small pieces of a much larger journey. But within these fragments we begin to glimpse what lies ahead. The struggles, the choices, and the quiet resilience that will come to define his life.
Later in the chapters, we're going to see the character comes out more, he'll reveal himself when it comes to the college. We see him crying, we see him questioning if his father, who wasn't there at the time, was happy with the idea that he actually was able to fulfill the promise that he made. So chapter 1 is more general, it's more small pieces, putting it together so that we see a plot, a glimpse of what really this individual was doing and how he transitioned from this person who we see at the farm to where he is now. The whole thing is the chapter 1 is more of a glimpse of that.
What happened next? That is the question. The story of Kibet has only just begun, and the journey ahead promises revelations yet untold. Join us in the next episode as we continue to uncover the trials, the triumphs, and the transformation of a boy shaped by the plains of Moiben. May this journey has moved you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe so you never miss as the story unfolds.